Greetings everyone, hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella. Today we are returning to a good old series that we've talked about multiple times before in Season 1. Yes, Season 2 has dropped, and you know what? We're here to talk about it. Boy, has it been a while. I forgot almost everything. But not to worry, I am joined here with a good friend of mine via satellite radio to help fill in many of those blank of details that I did not bother to retain. That's right, folks. It's my good friend Marc, aka Marcello, aka Marc, the ever stupendous Malice incarnate Marc. How you doing out there, Marc?
It's been so long, and the drought has been so real.
Dude.
Almost a year.
Take a swig of that water bottle and get your head in the game, my buddy.
Okay.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, water's great.
Drink it today.
This episode not paid for or brought to you by water. We live in California. We are fresh out of water. Thank you.
Aw, but you know what we're not fresh out of? Your support, folks. That's right. If you can like videos like this, subscribe to this channel. Man, we talk about all kinds of cartoons on the TV shows and movies. So be sure to subscribe and support me where you can. Without further ado, let's get into this episode of The Owl House, Season 2, Episode 1, dubbed Separate Tides. Not Stranger Tides, where I originally thought that, but it was separate, so that makes more sense, Marc.
No, and with Owl House, it sure is strange. But anyway, you probably want to know, what was this episode about? Well, if you're watching a review about it, you probably should just watch the episode. But if you have already watched it, then you probably know that a week and a half has passed since Luz saved Ida from Emperor Bellos, and right now, her, Ida, King, Hooty, and now even Lilith are just trying to get by and earn money now that Ida no longer has access to her powers or the portal to the human world. Find things are really tough, especially when Ida's very concerned about getting Luz her favorite foods, which are very limited in the Boiling Isles because she's human and can't digest a lot of this stuff. But everly optimistic, Luz decides to go out on a high seas adventure to capture the magical creature known as the Selkie-Damas. But on the way, she's being pursued by the Golden Guard, Emperor Bellos' right-hand man, and the child prodigy who Lilith is not a fan of and is constantly been upstaged by in her past career. But is someone else actually following Luz on this trip besides the Golden Guard? What are Lilith and Hooty doing? Well, we're going to talk about it and let you know. So, Matt, what did you think?
Well, as I said, Marc, it's been a while since I've watched the first season of the show, and I greatly enjoyed it. Got back to watching DuckTales, and then once that wrapped up, we were kind of in this weird lull where we were just checking out Invincible and a couple other shows that we may or may not have decided to record. So returning to this, I'm really glad that we didn't go straight into something bombastic or crazy adventure. No, it was kind of like a build up to your slice of life in the Boiling Isles for Luz, Ida, and Lilith after the events of Season 1 finale. So I really appreciated that we were just kind of like figuring out how their life is going to be after Ida has kind of lost her magic and Lilith has taken on some of that curse. It felt down to earth, yet strange as things may go in the Boiling Isles, and Luz continues to be considerate of others, especially after hearing some of the things that Ida has to pay attention to when taking care of her. Also, the fact I thought it was really interesting to kind of open things up with a video recording Luz was setting up to kind of explain to her mom, yeah, I could have gone back to the human world, but I had to make the sacrifice, so I don't know how to get back to the human world, but don't you worry, I'm coming back to it. And in a way, I just like the fact that that kind of acts more as a journal for herself. I don't know if Luz's mom's gonna actually get all that video journal entries and text messages, but it was a really interesting way for her to kind of cope with what's happening. While at the same time, she remains optimistic that, yeah, she will see her family again, even though she has no idea how to do so. But like anything, she is optimistic. She is positive. That's redundant, I know, but she's hopeful. So at the very least, it's good to hang out with her and King again, because man, I cannot stress this enough. I love King so much. I like how honest he is now and how adorable he is in his weird ways. He's definitely one of my favorite characters in the show. And another thing that I want to quickly bring up too is these characters are not just archetypes of like a trope per se. Like when we had Hooty trying to help Lilith out in a scrying spell, if I remember correctly. No, it was a scrying potion spell. And Hooty wanted to help out and he said, hey, we're friends now. Best friends, let me help you out any way I can. But Lilith, who is still beating herself for putting everyone back into that situation. And yet Hootie is still there for her. And even though when he felt rejected, he knew what was right, and it was to help Lilith. So there were a lot of little things like that I just really enjoyed. But anyway, Mark, what were some takeaways for you from this episode? You probably have more retained trivia and like little nods throughout this episode that probably went over my head, but you catch them all. Your reflexes are too great.
Yeah, I love Luz's pirate design. It was very Team Aqua from Pokemon for me. That was loads of fun. The Selkie-Damas, both it and the baby was, in the nicest way possible, I could say, stupid cute. But also, it's just the little smaller character moments for me, like what I mentioned earlier, the fact that Ida actually, in addition to trying to keep things afloat financially, is trying to make sure that Luz actually has something she can eat in this crazy world because she's human and can't. And just, even Lilith, who's like so now down on her luck, is asking Ida about apple blood, because I canonically choose to believe Ida is a day drinker, and no shame in that. I'm just saying, I think it's funny that Lilith, who is so high and mighty now, is kind of just down there, but in a fun and good way, of course. And just, I echo a lot of what has been said. I think it's really fun that this was I think you could watch this episode without having to worry about, on the last episode or last season on Owl House. It was a fun, low-key palate cleanser. The Golden Guard looks like he'll be fun. I question some of his methods. He seems rather laid back, whether that's going to bite him in the butt or not. He at least makes a nice contrast to how Lilith handled things with Ida, especially now that Ida has no powers and Emperor Bellos has the door. I could see why, our main characters aren't exactly on Bellos's main radar at the moment. But yeah, no, it was just a fun ride. I'm glad to have this series back. Animation and voice acting, wonderful as always, and just good to see. And it's just so crazy that this has already been almost a year when season 2 was greenlit before season 1 came out. And that's not to say that production had started or anything, but I guess just that almost goes to show how crazy 2020 was in terms of production for things. But it's glad to have it back. Just can't wait for more. 10 out of 10 excited. Not, if we're being really, really objective, not the best episode, but it didn't need to be. It was just something fun, and I enjoyed it 100%.
Well, folks, you heard our opinion, but now we want to hear yours. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think of Owl House Season 2, Episode 1, Separate Tides? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Share your thoughts. Join the conversation. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when new videos drop. And if you want to support me directly, consider going to my Patreon. And if you want to watch me do some animating, check me out on Twitch. I usually stream for a couple of hours every Saturday, so be sure to check me out there. Links on the description below. This is Matt Sella.
This is Mark.
Thanking you all for tuning in.